Hi guys! Welcome to the Abbyson showroom. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to be hosting another event for the grand opening weekend. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, so thank you so much for joining us. I have Risa with me here from Ivy. We're so excited to host this amazing event with Kelli Lamb from RUE. So she's going to be giving us some great information. I actually wanted to just introduce myself too. My name is Eleni Skiani and I manage the trade program here at Abbyson. So we've got tons of great product, over 2,000 SKUs available to designers at wholesale cost. So I'd love to give you a tour and show you the product, give you some insight on the cost, give you just any information on how you guys can build your projects with our products. So please come and see me afterwards. I'd love to help you out and we'll get you set up on our trade program.
Awesome. Thanks, Eleni, and thanks to our amazing hosts for having us in their brand new flagship showroom. It's a really incredible space, and we're super honored that Kelli Lamb is here to join us and talk about her tips and kind of the do's and don'ts about getting you published and all of the There's so much to cover, so we're super excited to have you here. My name is Risa. For those of you who don't know me, I manage all of our events and partnerships at Ivy. And if you don't know what Ivy is, it's a business and community management tool for designers. So we've been here all weekend long hosting educational events for you guys. Our community, whether you know me or don't know me, please make sure you come say hi at the end of our session. And without further ado, I would love to introduce Miss Kelli Lamb from RUE Magazine. And thank you, Elaine.
It's the story.
Oh, well, I like that. So Kelli and I actually are going, we thought about this and we really want this to be a Q&A for you guys, but we're gonna have an awesome deck presentation, and yes, the slides will be available for you too. We're gonna kind of just make this an open conversation, so feel free. There's no formal set stone. We'll cover some stuff, but she's here for you really to grill her and ask her all of your important questions. So let's get started. Is it on? It's on. You're on. All right, you can go to the next slide. So here's the agenda of what we'll be covering today. Choosing an outlet that works for you. Best practices in terms of photography, hiring the right photographer, also contacting editors and pitching your work and how you should go about that process. Setting expectations, what's realistic, what's not realistic, and building long-term relationships. So all really key elements. And I'll let you just dive right in.
Thank you. And also thanks to everyone for being here. I know High Point is crazy. My voice is usually, I think, a register higher. So I know it's really hectic, so I appreciate everyone taking the time to come. But I think there will be a lot of really useful information, or in my opinion, there will be. So
you know, I get DMs all the time too, and all of our community asking us, so I don't know if they want this as much as I want it, because I need it straight from the source. I'm not the expert.
It's my dream presentation because on the first slide, mutually beneficial, that is the point of this. So not all press is good press, despite what you may have heard. Our outlet, RUE Magazine, doesn't usually feature, say, super traditional spaces. So if your designs are, we might not be the right outlet for you. So both publication and designer do have the same goal, which is engagement. For the designer, it's potential clients, it's growing an audience, and for us, it's content that our readers will really resonate with. And so keeping that in mind through the whole process is you want it all to be mutually beneficial. And I did want to mention too, my experience is in digital media, so my tips will obviously be very specific to that. It's likely different for print publications, but I'll share, I'm an open book, I'll share all of the digital knowledge I have.
Good. That's an awesome pointer that you pointed that out, Kelli, because what I find is that a lot of designers might not understand that. Yes, obviously being in print is amazing, but what's amazing about being in a publication like RUE is that the amount of views and clicks and that it lives there forever. Yes. So us being a technology company, we stress that a lot because we understand understand really the digital marketing aspect.
Yes. Okay, so next slide. So my number one tip is to find an outlet that has the same aesthetic as you. So do your research and really get a feel for who their audience is. what kind of work they feature, and more importantly, what their readers respond to. So if you're looking at RUE's Instagram and there's a post that is bombing, that's okay. It might just be that our audience isn't connecting with that. Look for the outlet that the audience is connecting with, and that's going to be the best thing for your business. And one thing that, this is like my favorite thing to mention because I'm really sensitive. I just want to help everyone, but a no isn't a bad thing, and it is not an insult to the quality of your design work at all. It just means it's not a fit for that publication. So trust in editors, their knowledge of their publication. It's not saying this house is hideous, it's saying it's not right for our audience. And I personally have said no to projects that I would live in and love. I just know that it's not right for our reader. Okay, so this is another thing. I get so many comments, or I meet designers at markets who say, I would love to be featured on RUE, but I don't have a full home tour to pitch. That's okay. Really dive into the website or the magazine and find out what kind of press features they offer. We do rooms we love on RUE, and so that's if you've just done a bathroom renovation or just a kitchen or even a nursery. Well, we don't feature a ton of kids' spaces, so ignore that I said nursery. But room tours or hospitality. Also, throw your name in the hat for offering tips or a quote on design trends, or even at holidays, are you having any experts contribute to your gift guides? Even just interviews, there's no shame in saying, hi, I'm a designer. Interview me, I think I'm awesome, and I've said yes. I mean, that's really putting yourself out there, but I'm always like, you bet, 100%. Because if you have a portfolio, we can pull from lots of different projects and put together a story. And then also social media takeovers. So I'm working with a designer now who is at Round Top in Texas, and she's going to do a social media takeover since we're not there, and that's a great press opportunity for her.
That's awesome. I like that last one. I like to instill social media takeovers too for the Ivy Instagram, because we can't be everywhere. We're one person shows. And I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but in terms of when people are hashtagging home with RUE,
my proudest accomplishment.
Yeah, right? It's so amazing. But should they only be tagging and using certain stories and pictures that they think are relevant to those buckets and those categories, or can they use that for like everything? Is there a filter with that?
For me, I'm a little OCD. I have a problem when I see photos of like 500 hashtags. That's an exaggeration, but yeah, if you're trying to get the eye of an editor using the hashtag that is in relation to their publication, maybe it shouldn't be a photo of your dog. Like, really apply it, make it relevant. And I know a trend is tagging publications or tagging huge Instagram photos or accounts in your photos. And for us, we don't love that. So I know it's kind of the trend to boost engagement. And so I think it's a controversial thing, but we really look at our publication as a resource, both to designers and to just our general audience. And so I have a hard time when you go to look at tagged photos if it's just someone's dog.
So nothing to do with you.
I love dogs, but that's for the dog accounts.
Know your audience, right?
So speaking, all of it comes down to what I tell everyone. I think the best investment you can make in your business is photography, and it's just so important. I think every designer should set aside a budget on every project that they finish to hire a photographer, and it gives you creative control. And this is kind of a back and forth, because a lot of publications will want to maybe come in and style and shoot it themselves, but I don't think that will be a proper reflection of the designer's work. If I go in with a photographer, I'm going to see completely different things, or perhaps even my favorite shot might not be something that they even touched. And so if you're in control, you're able to, you know the details, you know the hardware that you installed specifically in the kitchen, you can get those shots, it's your vision. And so I think that that's really important. And then you can pitch them to multiple outlets, depending on the publication's exclusivity requirements. We're super chill at RUE. Once we run the story, you're welcome to take it to other publications and get the most from the photography and the press. Yeah.
I like that. That makes sense.
I could talk about that for the whole time.
Yeah.
So So picking the right photographer, I made this mistake myself with my own home. I worked with a photographer that I loved, and the images, I was like, that's not how I wanted it to look at all. And it's because the style, her style, she's so talented, it didn't match what I wanted it to look like. So if you want the project to reflect dark and moody, make sure that, really dig into the photographer's portfolio and make sure that it's kind of in line with what you want the end result to look like. And I also suggest using the same photographer with everything so that your images look consistent.
We talked about this. We did a panel and I actually put 3 photographers on the panel and everybody thought I was very silly for doing that.
No.
But it was amazing because there's a different look and feel that you're going to get from every photographer, and it's the relationship that you're building with your photographer.
Yeah. You'll become friends, and a lot of people ask, where do you even find a photographer? Get recommendations from industry friends or look to your favorite publications and you'll likely see that they're using the same, a lot of the projects are like the same 5 photographers. And the editor, you'll develop a relationship. I have relationships with photographers. They'll come straight to me, which instead of the designer pitching, the photographer will
You
say,
answered my question. That was it. Designers ask me that all the time in terms of picking their photographer. Okay, like, well, should I pick this person, or I have this project and it's really budgeting out for, maybe they can't use that photographer in every single project, but if they think it's appropriate for your publication, then that photographer might have a relationship with you, for example, and then it makes the designer's job a little bit easier.
Yeah, there's a handful of photographers that are based in LA where I live, and I'll get text messages of them saying, FYI, this is heading your way. And it's beneficial for all parties. The photographer will grow their business, we get beautiful content, and the designer gets press. So
that makes sense. Oh, and then my other favorite topic. I like so many designers DM me about this all the time. Sharing your content before you pitch it to somebody like yourself. Can you put it on social? Can you not put it on social? Can you put it on your website? And how much, even if you do, like, should it be a vignette? Or?
Website, put it on your website, 100%. Instagram, probably not. But the long answer is that it is very complicated. I would say do post, we can go to the next slide to go through. So I think progress pictures, 100%. Sneak peeks on Instagram stories when you're doing installs, behind the scenes on the shoot day, you can do crop details. So both of the images here are actually staff members at RUE, but it's just a corner of their home, and the room itself is quite grand. And so I think that that's appropriate, and they were from the professional, well, that might be iPhone, but still it's just like a corner. It's not saying here's the grand room. I think that that's totally appropriate. I think iPhone photos are totally appropriate, but if your goal is press, then don't put it all online, because then what's the point of the feature? It's hard for us. On the other hand, we know that Instagram is your business, and so it's kind of a fine line. Don't post a full home tour, but maybe just previews.
Yeah, within reason.
Yeah. And on the next slide, it explains it a little more clearly than my rambling. But the reason why publications exist because we want to share stories. And so if the project is fully on the internet already, that's not much of a story for our audience. And so it's kind of striking that balance between the two. I would say once you connect with an editor, and we will get into building relationships with them, understand you'll get to know them, and you continue working with them, know what they require for exclusivity. So for example, at RUE, we love to be the first to share, but our requirement is just 30 days, and from there, send it to other publications, get the press. We want designers growing their business. We're not trying to hoard all the good interior.
I love that. That's amazing, and I think that that's a really critical piece of information for designers to know, because they want to make sure that they're adhering to all of the policies and not stepping on anybody's toes.
Yes. So on the next slide, we'll really get into stepping on anybody's toes. Favorite time? So pitching your work. This is the #1 thing that I would suggest. Only pitch one publication at a time. It is really discouraging if we get a home tour and we're working. So on RUE, we have our daily content site, but we also have a digital magazine that's a little more robust and it's a special edition and a special experience for our readers. And so we want that to be really an exclusive or that story. And there have been a lot of times where I've gotten just this gorgeous project and I'm like over the moon, like this is gonna make the magazine, I'm so excited. And then the designer replies, I hope it's not a problem, but I was emailing with your direct competitor and they're also running it 2 days before you. And it's like, no, I can't. So one publication at a time. And it makes the process a little bit longer, but it'll be better in the long run and help build those relationships. And then also, I say follow the rules first. By that I mean don't send your pitch to the very first email you find. We have like an info at RUE Mag, and that is just it's just a bottomless pit of like mailing lists and endless stuff. And then we have a very specific submit at ruemag.com, and we have a system, and that's how we go through everything. And so do your research and make sure what is the right email to send it to make sure that it's being seen.
Yeah, I did a presentation last year. Amy Fleury has like a list of everybody's contact information. So like that's step one. You could think that your email is floating in the ethos and nobody actually received your email because you were sending it to the wrong person. So I think that that's so critical, and it's really easy to get access to that list.
It really is. Just click contact. And then the other thing, if you can't find an email anywhere, look to social media, but please be gracious. So one of the best things about social media is I could send a DM to Michelle Obama today, but she might not see it. You know, you can connect with anyone, you can access anyone on social media, but there's a line with that. And so the example I always use is I was in Mexico with my husband and I posted a photo of a margarita on the beach and someone commented, looks fun, when you get back I just sent you a submission I'd love to see on RUE. And I was like, I'll have 9 more margaritas and throw my phone in the ocean. And so, you know, kind of pay, like you can and should use social media and Instagram to build relationships with editors and with people that you want to work with. But for example, I do put professional stuff on my personal Instagram, but I also put a lot of videos of my cat sleeping. And so look and see, is this a professional account or is this a real person? And please, everyone will be very appreciative if you keep that in mind.
That's a good point. That's a good one to take home.
Okay, so this is also every slide is my favorite slide, I think. So every email to an editor should include an introduction. Just say hello and introduce yourself. Be polite and professional, but also concise. We're getting a lot of emails, so quickly get to the point. And what's the story? Include a concise summary of the project, and if it has been published elsewhere, just disclose that right from the start. And easily accessible imagery. A link to the full image folder. I prefer Dropbox, that's just what our team uses, but you could also do just a PDF with a few preview shots.
Like a few, like how many?
5 max.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and you can say, I will send a link to more imagery if you'd like to see. And so it's really just, this is who I am, this is what this is, and if you want more, I've got it. And then follow up after a couple of days, and only follow up twice. If you don't hear back, move on to the next publication. I answer every email I get, so give me 2 days. But if someone's not answering, then it's time to move on. And it's again that thing where we're getting a ton of emails, things get bogged down. Just move on to the next step.
I have a question about sending photos.
Yes.
Do you want people to send high-res images or low-res images? Because sometimes if it's a high-res image, it might get lost in spam or something, or take too long to download. What do you recommend?
Well, that's why I recommend something like Dropbox, so that it's just a link and you can get right to the gallery.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if they decide
sometimes Dropbox, sorry, I hate Dropbox personally because it's just me, because you have to it uploads into your Dropbox folder, and then the picture downloads into your folder, and then you have to have all of the images in there. I don't know whether your Dropbox is unlimited, but that's just mine and what happens to me. But I don't know, it's just a technical aspect. If that's what you like and that's what works, amazing. I just wanted to clarify because I've had designers actually ask me that.
I think if you've got the full gallery ready to go in Dropbox, just send the link. If you don't, then send, that's when I would send the preview images, and then you can go from there on how to get the high-res web ready.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And also just double check before you send everything what the image requirements are, so that you're not sending those like computer crashing size photos.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. Okay, so actually I'll read it. It's just, I can't see that far.
I know. Yeah, and we'll also be sending you guys this information, and this is like a gift from Kelly. So you should take a picture of this now or email me and I'll send you the slides.
Yes.
But she's crafted the perfect pitch for you. So this is gold right here.
This is an example of a good email, and when I get an email that looks like this, I just like reply within 30 seconds and I'm like, thank you so much, I love you, let's work together. So you can see that it's going to submit at RUEMag.com, that's our submissions. Of course, if you have the editor's email already, send it directly to them. The subject is very clear. It just says home tour, SoCal bungalow by, and then the design firm's name. And that is especially helpful for us to then find the email later on quickly. Hello Team RUE, my name is, and I'm a designer based in Los Angeles. I recently completed and photographed a charming bungalow in Venice Beach, and I think it would be a great fit for your audience. You're the first publication I'm reaching out to, and I'd love to offer RUE the exclusive. Perfect. I'm so clear on what I'm dealing with here. The photographer just sent back some great shots, which you can see here. And then below, you know the project intimately, so here's some past facts. The client is a young professional. This is her first home on her own. That to me says, oh, that's my story angle. Someone kind of spreading their wings in a beautiful new home. We completely upgraded the kitchen, taking it from a dark and cramped galley kitchen to a more functional space for entertaining. And then I can send before pictures if you'd like. We don't always need to see those. It's an option, so you don't have to include those. For furniture, she had a few great foundation pieces, so a large focus was on updating fixtures and accessories. I'm especially fond of point out what you love most. And then many of the pieces we brought in are still available online, so if you'd like to add a shop the story element to the feature, I can provide those links. That's, RUE doesn't always do a shop the story type thing, but some publications do. So again, it's doing your research and what they want. And then I can quickly send over more information at your request. Thank you again for your time and your signature. And when I get that email, it's the best day of my life. And the reason why is the next slide. A bad email. The subject is pitch. And it says, hi, I have a project that I haven't shared yet and would love to get on your website. Let me know if you're interested and I can send pics. And their name. And I get that 10 times a day. And I don't know if I'm interested because there are no pics. And I don't know the person. And don't do that. Just. So also to know, avoid embarrassing faux pas. What is the publication's name? I get a lot of pitches that go to other magazines because it is a copy-paste situation. So double check that. Also, what is the editor's name? And do they still work there?
And how do we spell your name, Kelly?
It's with an I. It's my mom's fault. But
it's okay. I have one of those names too that nobody knows how to spell.
And I know autocorrect corrects my name to Kelly with a Y. Do a read over or just double check it before you hit send. Also, do they offer print issues? Because a lot of people ask me if their feature is going to be in the print magazine and where they can buy a copy. And we don't have print. And how often do they publish? So just again, like it seems, as I say it out loud, it seems so obvious, but it's not, I guess.
One day we're going to create I shouldn't say this out loud since this is being recorded, but a funnel from your Ivy account that will just directly go, I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying this, but directly will go to you, and then it will be in the exact format.
Yes! And then I'll wake up every day, it's slightly less stressed.
Exactly.
Okay, so setting expectations. Back to talking about it being mutually beneficial. I, as an editor, want the work that we feature to benefit the designer. I want it to help improve their business. I want it to get them new clients. And so I want everyone to be on the same page. So before you pitch anyone, find out what it is you hope to get out of a feature in a magazine or on a website. Like, are you wanting Instagram followers? Are you wanting new clients? What do you want out of it? And so ask, how many images will the feature include? I've heard, we're pretty clear, but I've spoken to designers who pitched something thinking it was a full home tour, and it was just like a photo this big of a kitchen cabinet. So making sure that you know what it will look like, so you're not disappointed when it comes out. Ask them if they'll be sharing it on their Instagram. We, of course, our Instagram channel is only our content, but a lot of publications don't actually share what is on their website on their channel. So if Instagram followers are the most important thing, then double check that. And will they be sharing it in your newsletter? Just kind of get to the bottom of what you can expect so that everyone's on the same page.
And it's okay to ask those questions. It's not,
yes,
you would prefer it.
It's not annoying, it's preferred, yes. Okay, so building relationships. One thing I say, and this actually came from Victoria, who's our market editor, is to show enthusiasm. It's a little frustrating if we are really excited about a story or sharing work and then the designer doesn't mention it on their own channel or feel it's an odd thing. So be enthusiastic about the partnership. Be transparent about your goals. If your only goal is to be shared on the publication's Instagram account, then just say that and maybe pitch, do you want to post this photo on your Instagram account?
Yeah.
And just be genuine and also easy to work with, which kind of goes in line with the previous few slides. It's not, I think everyone can be easy to work with, but we have worked with designers who try to control the angle of the story or what images we run, and again, it goes back to trusting the editor's knowledge of the publication. So understanding that they're creating a story as well, and also stay in touch. Have an online presence and maintain contact on social media. Don't just disappear. I've built a lot of relationships with people that I have featured, photographers, designers, everything, and so that keeps them on the top of my mind so that when I'm building a different story, I think, oh, I should go ask that specific designer. They were so great to work with, or we were just writing back and forth about my sleeping cat on Instagram, or whatever it is.
You just reminded me of one of my favorite topics, and we were talking about this earlier. And when you are working with a designer, how important for you is it to tag the designer, the architect, the builder, everybody involved, so that when somebody sends you the information, you're not in it. You do pick it up. You're not only crediting the designer, so that you have the full slew, so that people don't come back to you and be like, and I'm the architect of the job, and say, hey, why didn't you tag me?
Yes, and same with even products. Like if you want something or someone mentions, let the editor or whoever you're working with know beforehand. We've run stories where the designer partnered with a paint company and then didn't disclose that to us, and then comes in and says, well, you need to credit the paint company. I got all the paint for free in exchange for this press feature. And it's like, well, I didn't know that. So disclosing everything and just getting all of it, it's just communication. And I think with email and internet, a lot can get lost, so.
I think in general, those are the parties involved that build the project. Obviously, if you're a design build firm and you have your GC license and you did everything, then you did everything, but you're a team and it really helps. And same thing goes for us when we're even featuring some of our designers and they don't send the photographer. It's like, we will never post images without having photographers, because that's how we roll.
Same, I feel so mortified when not everyone's tagged. And there's no point in me having access to this massive platform if I'm not making sure all parties are credited. But that's just how. I just want everyone to get what they are owed.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm sure, hopefully there are questions, or maybe we really.
Hopefully we got a lot of them, but I want to hear questions too.
So I think the 3 things you can do today: identify your dream publication, which audience has your potential clients, and then connect with them. Find the right email address and save it to your email or your address book. Just make a note of it. And network with editors. So this is perfect because the example is find the publication's event calendar. So you all did. And just add any noteworthy events to your calendar, or just reach out to their general email account and say, are you going to any future markets? Will you be here? Are you participating in this? If you want to meet someone and connect with them.
Okay, I have one more question before I open it up to you guys. How important, and I had this conversation last night at dinner, for you guys when you're looking at somebody's work, and this might not be relevant at all, but again, I get this question. Is it for you, let's say the designer has amazing work, but they have 2,000 Instagram followers. Do you base anything off of Instagram?
No.
Okay, good. So don't be intimidated. That's great to hear. Because I hear like a lot of designers tell me like, oh, like I want to wait to pitch this editor because my Instagram following is really low, and there can be such thing as vanity metrics. That doesn't necessarily mean you're a good designer or not a good designer. Maybe you have more time to spend designing and not on your marketing. Whichever way the cards fall, but that's really important to know. That's my favorite part of my job is doing a story on someone where it might be their first press feature, or they're just starting out, or it's the first project they have. They could have 8 Instagram followers. If the work is good and the story is good, I want to share that, and I want to help them grow their business and tell the story of their firm or their project or whatever it is. And that goes to my next question is, if a designer doesn't have a website and they just have an Instagram account, does that play?
Okay, well that one does a little.
Okay.
Yeah. I think having a website is really important because I look to that maybe before I would look to the Instagram. Because Instagram can have a lot of noise or a lot of clutter, or it's hard. I know a lot of people, the trend right now is to share inspiration images. And then that's kind of a challenge because I can't identify what the designer's portfolio looks like if I look at their Instagram page. And so I prefer to go straight to the website, and I think having a great website, a clear bio, easy access to your portfolio, especially if you're doing something where it's pitching, like, do you want to interview me? Then I want to be able to get to your portfolio as quickly as possible and not sort through Instagram and see what photos are yours.
You answered all my questions. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, we're going to open it up to the audience, and I'll have Eleni run the mic down and see if you guys have any questions for us. And don't be shy, because you can ask anything.
First of all, I was at that event in San Francisco with the photographers. It was a great event.
Thank
So thank you for putting that
I wish
together.
I was.
I got a lot of poo-pooing on because all of the clients were in the audience that were potential clients of the photographers, so everybody looked at me from my team and thought I was crazy, but we really believe in community over competition, and I think that it's a really big, even if you have different editors on hand, like, you can do it. It's everybody's looking for something different.
It was great, as is this, and thank you, Kelly, for being here.
Thank you for coming.
My name's Daniel. My question is actually about introducing ourselves to you as designers. I will just go out there and say this is very intimidating. For me, for instance, to come up to you and introduce myself, and I'm wondering, how do you want us to do that in a way that's gracious and not annoying? Do you want us to include you on our newsletters? Like, what should we do to introduce ourselves in a way that's...
Well, if it's at an event like this, you can know that I usually am at home. I work from home, so I'm usually at home in sweatpants. So I'm also intimidated. But newsletters, we get so many emails that I would check first to say, would it be okay if I added you to my mailing list? Just because it can be, if I'm getting so many emails and suddenly I'm signed up for one, that can maybe be more jarring. But honestly, just sending an email with a personal note saying how you found us, and that's not annoying, that's not aggressive. I get that a lot, and I really enjoy it. And I get a lot of emails that say, I don't have anything photographed, but I saw your panel at High Point, and I really enjoyed it, and I would love to work with you in the future. I just wanted to say hello, etc. It's just that human connection.
And then you appreciate that?
Yes.
It's not annoying?
No.
You must have like 1,000 emails a day, so...
I think it's like 800. No, I don't find that to be annoying. I find the human connection part of it to be so much better. I find the aggressive Instagram DM of that to be a little bit where someone's like, I have a project and sending it, thanks. And that to me is like, I'm a real person. Do you want to comment on, like, treating me as a real person? Like, that's what I enjoy about the job and what I enjoy about events like these. And so, no, I don't think a cold email is not annoying as long as it's done politely and professionally. Yeah. The one thing that, in addition to the DM, that sometimes is upsetting is people will do like a deep, like you don't want to reveal that you know too much about the person through social media, and so that's what I mean when I say be professional. And so I'll get things that, for example, my husband's name is Tim, but his Instagram name is Timmy. And if you know him, you know his name is Tim. But people will say, like, it looks like you and Timmy had a great time at the spa this weekend. We didn't. That's not who it is. So keeping it professional where you're not, yeah, I think that sometimes can feel more overwhelming. But a polite email is wonderful and so welcomed. Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, Kelly and Liz.
Hi.
I'm thrilled to meet you. When we send Dropbox links,
Yes.
I organize my Dropbox folders by project, and I label whatever the project name is: kitchen, 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 bathroom, bathroom. You know, is that how you
Right.
want to organize these full projects coming in, or do we edit down our Dropbox link to send you an abbreviated version?
I would start with that, an abbreviated version, because sometimes if they are in different folders, it can be a little more time consuming. And so the honest answer is that I'm clicking and I'm looking. And so if I have to open multiple folders to see each room, that can,
It's just all one. It's just
Oh.
a lot.
Oh, I think that's okay.
Okay.
It just, yeah, I think either is fine, because I have my Dropbox set up to be a thumbnail, and I know within 30 seconds if I want to see more, and then then it's nice to have all of them, because I can really dive in and see, is this the right story for us?
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yvette. I just wanted to know, should we have any concerns about sending editors our pictures? Like, do I send my pictures to you? Should I be concerned that they're just going to show up somewhere else, like at any point?
Not with me.
With other publications.
I think that, I mean, yes, with everything, I have heard horror stories, or I mean, just at an event last night, someone was saying that their photo showed up on a brand's page and they didn't know, but that I think that's pretty rare. And so I think if you're pitching something, no, I think it would be pretty rare for it to run without you being told first that it's being published.
Right.
Yeah. And especially, I think that with licensing, I don't necessarily dive into all the licensing or contracts or things,
so
but
many terms, even like for us, like when we hire a photographer for our own usage, just making sure that everybody, and that's why I put the photographers on the panel, because I didn't want to speak to it. But and I've done webinars too, so you should definitely check out our webinar page to go into the licensing of like who's allowed to use what.
Yeah.
Because that could actually be really illegal for a brand to use
Yes.
those images on their website, and then the designer actually could be in trouble because they signed the contract. There's so many crazy terms.
well, and I think too, it hasn't happened in many, it's been years since this has happened, but there was an instance where we were misled about who the designer was on the project, and we took it down within an hour. The second I got the email and the person said, you can't run this, it was gone completely out. And so I think there's certainly with every industry sketchy sites out there, but yeah.
Thank you.
I have another.
Oh, you got it. I'm yelling. Is it okay to submit something that is no longer in existence, so you have professional photographs of it, but the house is sold or something?
Yes, one of the homes in our issue that came out last week she does not live there anymore. Okay. But we made it part of the story. We told the story of the design, and it was a home that the designer lived in, and she has since moved on, and that was, of course it's no problem, yeah.
Okay.
But I understand the perspective, but if the images are there, of course.
Okay, perfect.
I have one other. Sorry.
We've got a question.
Oh, okay, good question.
Was it you?
Okay, I have one really quick question before we get to that. I'll let you run across the room. In terms of when you were talking about the categories and the different stories that you guys run, how many of you designers have a shot list for your photographer before you have the shoot with your photographer? Okay, that's a good amount. So I was gonna say, like, how does one go about that, making sure that they have the right images for you? And is there any kind of direction that you could supply or advise to designers to help direct their photographers?
Well, that one I'm on the fence about because again, my mantra is kind of, I think that the photography should be an asset to the designer, and so it should reflect, and then the publication should follow that. But if your goal is specific to the publication, then 100% check with the editor, check with the team, and say, I'm finishing this, the photographer's coming, what would you like to see? Because my goal with this is to have it on your site or in your magazine.
That makes sense.
This makes me nervous, I
Me too, don't worry.
Not being a publication specialist, what is the engagement goal of RUE Magazine? We were talking about that at the beginning, and some of the engagement goals that you see as a professional publicist with some of the trending magazines out there so that we can be more informed.
Well, I think I can only speak to what we're doing, and there's a lot of us in the industry, and so I don't want to speak for anyone, but for us specifically, we are a small team and we want to tell stories that we would be interested in reading, and we want our social media to be a reflection of that. And so that is our specific, there are a lot of publications out there who are doing, really inspirational travel photos, but if you look through ours, it is our content, and we're still trying to stay true. That's my goal specifically, is I want to write stories, I want to tell interesting stories, I want to help designers grow their business, and I want my brand to reflect that. So for us, that's it. We're less concerned about like a viral food photo, and so it's different for everyone. I think I was talking with someone this morning about remembering that like Instagram, for example, is a business. And so if Mark Zuckerberg decides that he doesn't want Instagram anymore and your whole business is on Instagram, you're done. So I try to keep that in mind. What can we do to keep our brand and our site the same? I don't know if that answers your question, but that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just telling, right? There's so many publications.
Yeah.
It's hard to decipher what is the goal of that publication. Like, it's hard for me as a designer to really figure that out sometimes.
Yeah, me as an editor as well. So there are some where I look, and I think Instagram specifically, there are a lot of accounts right now that have millions of followers and no website, and so things like that. And ours is the story based, and my team and I talk often about what would we want to read. So we just, for example, revamped our digital magazine, and revamp is not, we gave it a little zhuzh.
And it looks beautiful.
Thank you. We just fluffed it up a little bit because I remember what it was like when I first discovered it, and I would sit down and I would read it, and I am having trouble with the constant Instagram scroll, double tap, not reading captions, commenting, it's saying a product source in the Instagram caption and someone going, coffee table, ? Like, that doesn't work for me. What we want is to still continue telling those stories, sharing a full project or a room or an introduction to a designer. So that's us specifically. The other ones, I have the same questions.
Hi, Kelly. I'm Autumn Pachero from Dublin, Ohio, and thank you. I love your authenticity and your humility. It's a beautiful thing, so thanks for that. So my question is, a lot of magazines have their entire run for the year out, right? So November they're going to do Christmas or whatnot. Do you all do the same thing?
No, because we are digital and we like to be at home and cozy.
All right. Organic.
So yeah, we're digital, and so we do. I mean, of course, we plan. We have our dates all secured, but we one of the homes, like for me, our editorial calendar is planned about 2 months out, but things fall through, and so sometimes I will get a home tour submission and I'll say, we're running this at the end of the summer, and sometimes I'll say, can you get me to Q&A by Friday, because something, and so we are different, and being digital, we navigate that because we start getting Christmas pitches in July, and it's like, can you send this in October? So
Awesome.
For us specifically, we're a little more on the fly.
I love that because that's how I roll.
Yeah.
I have another question. If we were to pitch something and the answer is a
know it's not the right fit, and then we have another project that we think could be the right fit. What's the appropriate amount of time to wait to pitch that next step?
Oh, I don't know that for me individually, I don't know that there's an appropriate amount of time. I've had someone reply to the no with a new project, and that one works.
That's okay.
Yeah, and just say, I'm not trying to hound you, but what about this? Or you could ask and say, what specifically should I look for that might be better? Because sometimes the home is beautiful, but the photography isn't right, and we don't have it in the budget for that month, or we're not going to send a photographer because it's not perfectly right. But if the photography is just off, then I might say, it's that the project is beautiful if the photography was different, or the interior styling is a little too coastal for what we normally run. Or so you can feel free to ask for specifics, or just say, trust your gut and say this one might be better. It's okay if it's not. Sort of, yeah.
Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you everybody for being here. We're gonna wrap it up. If you do have other questions, Kelly will be here for a little bit. Feel free to introduce yourself to Kelly and don't be afraid. I think that's another thing we talked about a lot this weekend through the different programming is having that confidence to really be able to take your business to the next level, and you are your brand. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Addison, for hosting us.